All right, so here today we got my good buddy here, Devin Fennell. He was instrumental actually in helping me gain business out there in central Pennsylvania when I first started doing external bone growth stimulators over there. So he's been a great mentor to me. He's helped me out even when I went over to Medtronic and needed help. So I just wanted to get him on. I wanted to hear his thoughts on the industry itself, sort of how he got into the industry and, what he, does on a day-to-day basis. So without further ado, I wanted to introduce Devin Fennell here. So first question, like first and foremost, so how'd you get in? Like, how did you, get your start?
How to get into med device? Well, luckily my family knew orthopedic surgeon that I sort of got some background into what he did and the support that he had from a rep standpoint, and I found it very interesting. Seemed like something I wanted to do, and so I had a sort of an internship my last year of college, just taking a look at the day-to-day activity of what a rep does. And fortunately enough, there was an opportunity for me that opened up in Southern New Jersey right when I graduated, and I jumped at the opportunity to take a leap of faith and started career down in Southern New Jersey.
So is that the same company that you're working with now? So have you
I've
been with the same one forever?
gone on 16 years now. Yes, so
Wow.
I think it's unique to be in a career with the same company for as long as I have, but you have to have longevity, and you have to have you build deep relationships, and it's really hard to uproot when you work with really good people.
So what did you do prior? Like, was medical sales kind of any kind of thing on the horizon before that time frame?
I had an internship before I graduated college where I worked for the House of Representatives, and I was in politics and government. That's sort of what I thought I was going to be going into. But then, I was given the opportunity to sort of see behind the curtain of what the day-to-day activity was of a med device rep, and really found that intriguing and interesting, and something that I felt fit what I wanted to do for a living. And luckily enough, it's a lot of times not what you know, it's who you know. And I was able to start out as a clinical rep for a rep down in Southern New Jersey.
Nice. All right, well, that's perfect. So tell me, like, what is like a day to day like for you? Because I don't think we've dove into too much yet exactly what you do, if you're hardware or anything like that. So just sort of what's like a day to day like for you?
So I mean, it's very different. When I first started in the industry, it's sort of where everyone in med device sales, at least on the spine side, starts, and that's just learning the ins and outs of the business. That's what OR protocol, how you handle yourself in an operating room, the instrumentation, how do you check it in, how do you get it from point A to point B and into the surgery. So really the basics and what you need to know to survive in the industry is OR etiquettes, and being able to move instrumentation from one hospital to the next, get it ready to go for surgery the next day. So that's sort of your baseline, where you have to, before you can start selling, you have to understand what exactly your purpose is, and what the hardware you're selling is used for. So on top of learning the trays and learning how to conduct yourself in the operating room, you start learning anatomy and spine pathology, and really start diving into what your purpose is and what your instrumentation is being used for.
So would you say that is the biggest challenge of the job, is the learning curve, or is it more like, relationships with competitors, those kind of things?
I mean, I think you first sort of have to get your arms around what you're doing, and understand, you know, I went to school for political science. I didn't know the anatomy of the spine before I got into it. And you're dealing with and talking with guys that have spent a decade of their life in medicine, just studying and getting to where they are to be a physician. And to be able to communicate and talk to them on in a way that is meaningful, you have to understand, the spine, the anatomy, the hardware, and exactly what you're doing. So that takes a long time, and it's something that you just can't pick up and read in a book, and all of a sudden you know everything. I think the best way to learn is on the job training in the OR, watching reps, watching the surgeon. I was lucky enough to have a surgeon that took me under his wing, really mentored me. And I got a lot of years of working with him and really learning the craft inside and out.
Hmm. What is one thing that you wish was different about the job? So if there's one thing that's maybe like, I don't want to say a specific pet peeve, but something that, if you could change, it would make your life a little bit easier from a rep standpoint.
I mean, you got to understand going into it, you're not going to, it's not a 9 to 5 schedule. You're not punching a clock. Your hours are all over the place. They're very early mornings and they're very late nights. And, at any moment, your plan for that day could change. And it's hard not having a consistent schedule, but it's also really nice too, because I'm not sitting at a desk 9 to 5. And that's the one piece I do like about it. But on the flip side, you're at the dinner with your family and something pops up, you got to go. I've been on vacation. I've left I've left vacation early to attend a business, and it's what you signed up for. So I think the variability in your schedule, it's hard, but you get used to it.
So would you say having, a partner that understands the things that you have to go through is like critical to
Uh,
anything going forward?
to have support at home, you have to have people around you have to be understanding. Luckily enough, I work with a good team that we can sort of split responsibility. But if you're solo, it's really hard. If you're the low man on the totem pole, it takes a few years to get a little bit of seniority. You're going to be the one going in the middle of the night, or early mornings or late nights. But that's part of the gig. That's what we sign up for. And it's really rewarding too when you get to work with your customer, and they really depend on you being there. That's very impactful for you.
So what is one thing you're really looking forward to? It could be, I mean, a year from now, it could be in 5 years. Like as far as your career is, concerned, what would you say is something you're really looking forward to in the coming future?
I think, for High Ridge Medical, we're, once Zimmer Spine and ZimV Spine. And I think being part of this new company, there's going to be a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of investment going into our company. So I think for the next few years, we're going to have a lot of fun innovating in the spine space. And I look forward to that ride with them. And then just really the relationships I have, I really want to make sure they're taken care of. And I love the people I work with. So continue to work with our customer base. I'm looking forward to building a long-term relationship with them.
100%. What was your biggest surprise taking a med sales career? Because I know a lot of people will tell you, that getting into the space, you are going to be low man on the totem pole. It's going to be a ton of hours and everything. So maybe that was, a little bit expected, even though it is rather hard. Well, what's one thing that surprised you once you got in that you didn't think it was going to be that way?
I think how critical your role is and the rep's role is in the operating and in the overall success of the surgery. The surgeons are obviously the ones that bear the brunt of that. They're the ones physically doing it and have all the training. But we really I look at us as like the caddy for the surgeon. We're the ones that are looking at film during the case, just making sure we're another set of eyes for the surgeon, making sure everything looks good, because they have a million things going on that they're responsible for and their attention's on. And we can pick up those little subtle things that might be overlooked. And we also help the flow of the case run as smooth as possible for them. So, I like to think that we're the caddy that ends up helping, the player win the championship. And we're there for the surgeon, just, making sure everything is perfect for them.
I will say 100%. That's actually probably my biggest surprise too, because as you know, obviously one of those days when one of the trays went on the floor, I did not realize that that single-handedly probably botched the whole entire the whole entire thing. And I was like, I just didn't even know, that we would have that much responsibility, essentially. But after that day, I sure knew. So that was that was a fun one. But I will say, I think that is probably the number one most stressed out that I've ever been is when, contamination issue at a hospital, and it was 100% my fault. And it was, it was something I didn't think, was going to put me in as much heat as it definitely did. So that was interesting. But so would you choose this career again? So let's say you can go back into like a 17-year-old Devin. Would you still pick medical device sales?
Yeah, absolutely. It's still a really fun job. I thoroughly enjoy it. I really can't see myself doing anything else. Has the industry changed over the past 15 years since I got into it? Absolutely. But the guys before me were like, the industry's changed so much. It's going to continue to progress and change. And, I don't know if it's going to be for the better or not, but um, it's still a really fun uh, industry to be in. And and I couldn't see myself doing anything else. If you had that crystal ball and you could go back, I think I'm still gonna choose med device all any day of the week.
Good. Yeah, I feel the exact same. So you probably had a ton of memories, but if there's one memory that you could think of as like your number one, like in your career, as far as just something that kind of like made you the happiest, whether it's getting a new doctor on board or a case that went smoothly, is there anything that you can think of that would probably be your number one?
There's been a lot of, you got a lot of. I've been fortunate enough to have some really good runs and successes, and I think the main thing that was probably one of the happiest I've been in the career is I had a physician call me and just thank me for you know my behind the scenes work where he had a patient come in with a cervical injury. We rushed to get a certain implant to him. The patient at the time had some paralysis. We were able to get the instrumentation to him very quickly. Surgery was very successful. And at the end of that case, a few days later, he called and said, the patient has full mobility. They're feeling great. And he just thanked me for all the work and legwork to get those implants to him. And that's something that we don't ask for and we never expect. But when you hear it and someone calls and recognizes all the behind the scenes stuff you do, you feel very grateful.
Good. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So shifting gears now a little bit to people trying to break into the industry itself, what is like some advice that you would give them when they're trying to break in? And this is people, that really don't have any experience, but want to get into a career in med device sales, like, not people that are competitive hires, et cetera.
The one thing I don't like about the industry is a lot of times a lot of people don't get an opportunity when they say you don't have experience. Well, how do you get experience? You have to be hired. Someone has to give you a chance. When they say, well, you don't have any experience, well, you got to start somewhere. I think the main thing is you have to be energetic and willing to put in its time and just say yes to everything. Yes, whatever you need, I'll do. I don't care what time of day. I don't care how late. I'll work 7 days a week and really have that eagerness to learn the industry and do whatever it takes to be successful in it. And you have to be personable. People have to want to be around you. Surgeons, anybody, people buy from people they like. So you have to, you always have to conduct yourself and always be positive. And I think that's the main thing. And just talk to everyone, network, talk to everyone and anyone. That's the one thing I do is I always try to keep good rapport with my competitors and people that I compete against on a daily basis. Because one, the industry is always changing. You never know. You could end up working for them, or they could end up working for you because of an acquisition or someone company buying another one. Or a lot of times you might want to jump ship and try something else out with someone another company. So I think the main thing is you never want to burn a bridge. You always want to be cordial. You always want to be nice and polite to everyone around you, everyone you work with, and you get more bees with honey.
True. Oh yeah, man, 100%. So what would your number one interview tip be for people that are going through the med sales interviews? Not a specific interview, but just in general, when they finally get in touch with the hiring manager, like what would you say for them to do so that, they'd be able to put their best foot forward?
Maybe I'm not the best one to ask this, considering I haven't had to go on any interviews in the past 15 years, just
Yeah,
because
maybe that is true.
of the company.
Give me what you got.
But when I sit down with new hires or people that are looking to break in, like I said, the main thing is you can look at the resume, but obviously someone that has maybe experience plays sports, part of a team, because you ultimately are going to be part of a team. You got to play well with others, because the main success you're going to have is working collaboratively with your counterparts. You got to be able to um, work as a team. And like I said, just be eager to learn, and just say yes, pick up your phone. I think those are the main things, at least in spine sales and med device sales, is um, you just got to be willing to put in the time.
So would you say, in your opinion, would it be more beneficial for a new person breaking in to work for a distributorship or direct with an employee?
I think there's two philosophies, and it's changed since I've gotten in. When I got in, I think I've worked for a distributorship. Um, there's more. I feel like you had more time to sort of learn the craft, and you worked under a senior rep, and they took a lot of time to train you, and you had a lot of runway before you sort of got thrown into situations that you might be uncomfortable with, or into surgeries that you weren't prepared for. Um, Nowadays, I think that timeline's cut short. The training is not as robust, and you don't have as much time to sort of get your feet under you before you're asked to sort of jump into things. I mean, I think you would know better than anybody. uh, but in the direct model, working for a company, there's definitely some perks, but you might not have as much as you do in the distributorship model, but you will get a really good background in training. They'll send you to their corporate training, which is a few weeks. So, I think either way route you go, you have to get trained. You're gonna do some kind of involved training, but I don't really see a huge difference on distributorship versus direct.
Now, because this is where there actually might be a bigger difference, but would you recommend people taking a W-2 role or a 1099 role if that was what's offered as their first gig?
It all depends on the person and their threshold to like the stability of the W-2, or if they like the variability and the ability to not have a set salary where you eat what you kill. If you're killing it, you're going to be very happy. But if uh, you hit some of those lean months, then it could get a little tight. Having a set paycheck is also very nice, knowing what you have coming in every month. So I think it's very dependent on the person. If you're new starting out, I would probably want to take that W-2 role.
Mhm. Yeah, I would 100% agree because at least in my experience with this, the only time I've seen 1099s really work out is when they're just making so much money that, they'd rather get the points than, insurance benefits and like 401k match.
Uh,
Um, but anyway, I mean, this is so the last question here. Do you prefer or do you think medical sales college is worth it for people to do? Or do you think it's just more in their best interest to network and try and find a job sort of like the longer way?
you got to look at the cost analysis of this. Is if you're putting in, and I have never looked at it and what the cost of it is, but I think it's a good way to sort of understand the basics of the industry. across the board. I think it gives you that foundation before you jump into it. I don't know how well they place people out of the school into actual careers. And I'm not sure how, a lot of the large companies look at it. This industry is still a lot of a, if someone plugs you in and can vouch for you, you're going to probably get an interview with a company. So a lot of it is still sort of that internal, like, knowing someone, then going on the outside and um, you know at least from the distributorship side. Medtronic or a lot of these other companies, they might work through those channels, but yeah, I'm not sure if that, I don't think med device college can hurt, but depending on the price point, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth.
I think a lot of them range anywhere from, ten to $20,000, depending on
Yeah,
like the program that you're in. So it is pretty costly. And I mean, I was actually running some numbers and whatnot the other day that it's just unless you really think you can't get a job in, about 2 years time or something like that of trying on your own, then maybe med sales college is worth it. But that's for someone that's also unemployed and everything too. So it's just, I don't know. In my opinion, I think you can do a lot of the work yourself because I feel like that's kind of sales at its core anyway, because your
and
first thing is breaking into a hiring manager.
you don't have to take your dream job right out the gate. If you have an opportunity, take it, learn, and look for your next opportunity. I was lucky enough to start with a good company and have been able to work my way through it and up through it, and really haven't felt the need to make any moves or change. And I love the people I work with. I love the customers I work with, and there hasn't really been a need to change. So, you know, I fortunately have never had to make that jump. But someone starting out, take that job, suck up as much experience as you can, and then continuously network and talk to people and see what your next move will be. I think that's probably the better route than trying to do a device college and then try to get a placement.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more on that. But anyway, so that is the end of this video. So thanks, Devin, for coming on. We'll be sure to get this episode out, and then again, much thanks for doing this late on a Sunday. So much appreciated.
Not a problem. I mean, we'll be in the car at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Oh, all right.